All right, good evening. Thank you all very much for being here today. My name is Colonel Matthew Packard. I serve as the Chief of the Colorado State Patrol. Here to provide a briefing on an incident that happened earlier this afternoon on Highway 36, just west of Federal Boulevard in the city of Westminster. About 1:18 this afternoon, a Colorado State Trooper in a marked patrol car, it was a Ford F-150, was parked in the center median of Highway 36 at that location. He was actually parked in between two concrete barriers. It's right at the spot where there's a gantry where they do the enforcement or the photos for the managed lanes on Highway 36 right there. Our trooper was parked in that center median working on paperwork, was not in contact with any vehicles at that time. Again, at about 1:18, a black Chevrolet pickup truck traveling eastbound slowed, and as he passed our trooper, started to fire multiple shots from a handgun into our patrol car, aimed at a Colorado State Trooper. As the vehicle continued eastbound, it pulled over onto the left shoulder. A male suspect exited from that Chevrolet pickup truck and began to engage our trooper again. Our trooper exited his patrol car and immediately began to return fire. He deployed his rifle that was issued to him and was able to strike and ultimately killed the suspect that was attacking him. Once the shots stopped being fired, our trooper was able to return to the rear of his patrol car. He was shot one time in his arm. He was able to self-apply a tourniquet until one of his fellow troopers arrived on scene and ultimately was transported to Denver Health Medical Center. The suspect was killed on scene by our trooper. Our trooper has actually since been released. He's already on his way home from Denver Health after receiving that single gunshot wound to his forearm. That's what happened, but I will tell you very directly that our member was targeted today by a man that intended to kill him, and that is shocking and unacceptable. But our Colorado State Trooper responded appropriately and swiftly and courageously, and he won today. And by winning, not only did he save his own life, but he saved the rest of this community from someone that was clearly intending to do evil. And I want it to be known that we came out on top today, and that's really, really important because that's what good does. Good and courageous people win over evil cowardice, and that's what happened today on Highway 36. Again, I appreciate you being here, and I'm more than happy to take any additional questions. But I think the top line here is Corporal Ty Simcox, a 16-year veteran of the Colorado State Patrol, is on his way home today because of his training and heroism. Take any questions.
So it was literally just him and the other guy that were like exchanging fire, and he kind of just stood his ground, and it was just him.
Yeah, Corporal Simcox was literally parked in his patrol car working on reports, and this person slowly drove by and began to shoot at him with a handgun, and then exited and began to fire again, and that's when Corporal Simcox responded appropriately.
What do you know about these suspects?
Don't know yet. We haven't identified him yet. He was killed on the scene, and he's still there. And the shooting is being investigated by the 17th Judicial District's Critical Incident Team, and they, in conjunction with the Adams County Coroner's Office, will work through notifications or identifications, I should say, but go through that. But we don't know much more beyond that.
Do we know if any of these shots hit any other cars driving by in this area?
To my knowledge, no. The only I know both vehicles. Our patrol car was hit several times, and the suspect vehicle looked like it had been hit a few times, and then those are the only vehicles that were hit.
It's probably too early to tell if it was like a gang member or something along those lines.
Yeah, I don't know anything other than I believe he's an adult, but a male.
You know what kind of gun does he have?
The suspect fired a handgun, a semi-automatic handgun, and the trooper fired his patrol rifle.
Did the suspect, did he stop or did he continue driving on 36?
The suspect pulled over on the inside, that left shoulder, exited, and I believe he began to walk back towards the trooper when the trooper engaged him. So both vehicles were stopped and parked at the end of this.
He was by himself?
Both our Corporal Simcox, and the suspect, we believe, were both alone at the time of the shooting. That could change, at least on the suspect side, but at this point we believe that the suspect was alone on scene.
Pretty alarming that somebody would approach a state trooper with a fire gun, with a handgun shooting.
Yeah, you're damn right. It is alarming, and it should be alarming to everybody. But make no mistake, we were ready for it, and we responded the right way. But this shouldn't happen ever again. And we will work to hold whoever's accountable, whether there's something else, and we'll coordinate with the Westminster Police Department. But it is alarming. But I could not be more proud of Corporal Simcox and his fellow troopers that responded in the moments after. His fellow trooper is actually a trooper that he trained, got on scene, made sure the suspect was cared for. Westy got on scene to make sure Westminster Police arrived on scene. Then he took care of his fellow trooper and actually transported him to the hospital. Pretty amazing stuff.
Do you know if the suspect is Hispanic?
I believe he's a Hispanic male, but I don't know much beyond that.
The injury to the trooper, did you know what part of the arm?
It was in his lower right arm.
You're saying how proud you are of this trooper. What other words or descriptions come to mind, for his actions today?
Yeah, I mean, heroism, courage, tenacity. He is a fighter. When I look through, in fact, I was talking with some of the fellow members of the patrol, and we talk about how we train. Quite frankly, we train for this almost exact scenario. And what I saw today from Corporal Simcox is he acted incredibly. And I don't use the term heroically lightly, but that's exactly what he did today. He looked at the face of evil and responded appropriately and won.
How often does something like this happen? Like just a law enforcement officer targeted like this?
It feels like when you watch the news that it's happening more and more. But I can think of one other incident that I've been the colonel here where we believe that someone was shot at strictly because they're being a trooper while they weren't even engaged in some sort of policing activity. That was several years ago. But this is not a frequent occurrence, at least not for us. But again, we prepare for the worst, and that's what happened today. And the outcome is what it was.
Do we know how or why or how this started?
I'm sorry, say that again?
How this started?
How it started?
Yeah.
I don't know what was in the mind of the suspect here. He was literally driving, I believe he was driving in the far left lane of eastbound 36 when he slowed, and when you look at our patrol car, it's clear that he was driving when he was shooting, and then pulled over, and we can all assume why he got out of that car and continued to re-engage. But our trooper didn't have his lights on. Our trooper was literally working on paperwork, not bothering anybody. Being visible, because we know when you see police cars, you drive better, and that's what we're trying out there. He's being visible to help keep people safe in this community.
Any idea when US 36 is going to be open?
When I left the scene here about a half hour ago, the crime scene folks were just getting on scene and getting started, so I don't have a specific time, but I would estimate probably it'll be a couple hours still.